The AI agent economy is one of the biggest narratives in crypto right now. And for the first time, a lot of it is actually on-chain, which means we don't have to take anyone's word for it. We can just measure it. So I did. 34,000 agents registered on Ethereum. Here's how real it is. Most of this runs on a new Ethereum standard called ERC 8004, Trustless Agents. The goal is to give autonomous agents a trust layer they can carry anywhere, so you can discover an agent you've never met and still have a reason to trust it. It's built from three on-chain registries. Identity. Each agent is registered with a file describing what it is. Reputation. Other agents and users can leave verifiable feedback. And validation. Proof that an agent actually did what it claimed. It's a genuinely smart design. The question is simply how much of it is being used yet. Quick note on method, because it matters. I'm not using any project's marketing numbers. Google publishes all Ethereum activity as a public data set, so I queried the registry contracts directly. Every registration and every piece of feedback since launch. Raw on-chain data. And the queries are in the description if you want to run them yourself. One scan returns every agent ever registered. First, the good news. There's real traction. 34,455 agents have been registered. For a standard only a few months old, that's a fast start. But the shape is interesting. Almost all of it came in one big launch wave, and after that, the daily pace settled down to a quiet baseline. And that launch wave wasn't evenly spread. On the single biggest day, more than 13,000 agents were registered, and nearly a third of them came from one wallet. So the headline number is real, but it's not 34,000 independent builders. So did these agents actually get set up? Start with identity, the file that says what an agent is. I decoded all 34,000, and right now about half don't have one. And I checked carefully. The standard lets you add your identity file later, so I pulled every later update too. Even counting those, 51% of registered agents still have no identity file today. Could they still fill it in? Sure. But almost nobody does. Out of 18,000 agents that registered empty, only 308 ever came back and set a real identity. So the gap isn't a temporary blip. It's the steady state. Now the layer that makes the whole thing valuable? Reputation. This is what's supposed to let you trust an agent you don't know. And it's the emptiest. Here are two lines. Every agent registered, and every agent with even one piece of feedback. The gap between them is the story. And it keeps widening. Across every registered agent, fewer than 5% have received a single piece of feedback. The reputation graph that makes ERC 804 powerful basically hasn't been built yet. That's not a flaw in the design. It's just early. And even inside that small reviewed minority, the reputation is thin. Of the agents that got any feedback at all, 80% have exactly one review. A single rating isn't really a track record. And the feedback that does exist comes from very few hands. There are 600 reviewers on paper, but the top 10 wallets write nearly 3/4 of all the reviews. So reputation isn't just scarce, it's concentrated. That concentration runs through everything. On the registration side too, a single wallet minted nearly 29% of all agents, and the top 10 account for almost half. That's normal for a new standard. A few infrastructure teams deploy in bulk, but it means the number of distinct builders is much smaller than the agent count suggests. Here's that wallet, one address responsible for nearly 30% of every agent on Ethereum. Read the headline number with that context. So, how real is the on-chain agent economy? Honestly, the rails are real, and they work. I queried thousands of live agents in seconds on infrastructure that delivers what it promises. The activity on top of those rails is still early and thin. It's not a scam, and it's not a movement yet. It's a ground floor. And the most interesting part is what's already standing on it. The small, active minority with real reputation, and some that can already take payments. That's the next video. Not how many agents exist, but which ones actually work. Subscribe and I'll see you there.